Hello, my name is Jesse. This is the Auditorium. I normally react to video game music and do other stuff, but today is a 100K subscriber special video. I did not really plan too much of this. I kind of wanted to go off the cusp and, just kind of share some highlights, lowlights, a Q&A, which I haven't done since my 10,000 subscriber special years ago. And that's pretty much it. I don't want to waste too much time. I just wanted to take this early intro to just really say thank you. I try avoiding the mushy stuff because I don't know. I guess I just don't like being mushy. But it's gonna be a fun episode. Let's see how I feel. I'm gonna be recording throughout the day, and I'll probably get emotional. We also have a thing to unbox, which I'll do soon. And I appreciate everyone who submitted questions, submitted clips, and all that. Pay no attention to. This has nothing to do with it. This is shout out Lance from Xenoblade Chronicles 3, but that's just how I feel. And that's how I've been feeling this whole time, reminiscing about this journey we've been on for technically now 5 years, but 4 years. So before I get started on these clips and lists that I made, I wanted to give a brief intro on how this channel came to be and how the auditorium kind of like took off while I unbox this reward, which I've had it since yesterday, and I've been kind of like emotional just staring at it because it's like kind of like Christmas morning. You see the gifts under the tree, and you're just trying not to peek at it. Well, it's just been like sitting here. So basically, like I said, I didn't really like rehearse this. I just kind of speaking at the top of my head. I don't really partake or ingest with React content. This is really weird. There's a hair in here, and it's not mine. Look, can you guys see that? I promise I didn't do that. Can you see that? Here, I'll just pull it out. Do I have it? Yeah, look. You can't see that, can you? You can't see that. Let's do the influencer thing. There's a hair in here. Thanks to whoever sent me that. Sent me another one. Yeah, I don't really like ingest too much reactive content. I think a lot of it is kind of corny and all that. But oh, this is so crazy looking at this. I'm uploading it in real time. So, anyways, without me yapping, basically, I was really interested at this time for like the younger generation hearing music of my day for the first time. I thought that was kind of like an interesting concept. I just thought of that one day. I was like, you know what? Because I was listening at that time. I was listening to a lot of like, when the beat goes on, and I forgot the artist names, and just all these songs from like the 70s and 80s, and also video game music. At that time, I was listening a lot to the Ape Escape Originape soundtrack, and it just occurred to me, I'm like, I wonder if there's any like, is like the youth watching this or hearing this, what do they think of like Michael Jackson, or something like that. And then that kind of just shifted into, oh, I wonder if anyone's ever heard Ape Escape. That'd be really cool because I was listening to it a lot, but I also really loved that. And then immediately my brain was like, whoa, there's so many other video game songs that I know that would be cool to, see reactions. And without even like hesitating, I just, I asked Twitter when it was called Twitter. I just asked Twitter. I'm like, hey, I'm starting a new series. Just send me songs from video games, like that you like. Little did I know that asking someone that is a humongous rabbit hole. I tapped into a market that I had no idea did not exist. I'm not saying I was the first one to do it, but I definitely was like, I don't know. I'm pretty sure like I started the trend of like video game music listening to or reacting to. It just didn't exist at the time. So the idea that when the internet caught wind that someone's like hearing video game music for the first time and going on this journey, like everyone just started throwing stuff at me because I uploaded one reaction and then the comments filled immediately with like, oh, well, you have to hear this, you have to hear this, and that still goes on to this day. So I realized that there's something there. And I just kept going, I didn't really have much going on. I didn't have a job, and oh God, I'm looking at it now. Anyways, so that's how it happened. And then it saved me from almost being homeless at the time. I was rock bottom. And long story short, here we are. Still doing this, still backed up, still have a lot of requests, and I don't know. I just can't believe I'm still doing this. And not only just reacting to stuff, but I've also, you know, branched out into other cool stuff, which I'm really proud of too. You know, it's just become like a video game music kind of haven, VGM vibes with like guests, the Leitmotif series, the Pipeline series, interviewing composers. Like so much has happened, you know. But anyways, a letter. Interesting. It's not even paper. It's like super thick. Do you remember your first subscriber, your 100th? Or your 1000th? No. Chances are you do. And we know that you'll definitely remember your 100,000th subscriber. Do people keep track of like individual people? I don't know. Your fans may have found you while searching YouTube, learned about you through a friend, or maybe you showed up as a recommended video. No matter how they came to your channel, your audience stayed and their numbers increased because of you and the community you've built. We're proud to honor your impressive milestone of reaching 100,000 subscribers with the Silver Creator Reward. Congratulations. We know that you have many more stories to share with the community, and we know that your fans can't wait for you to amaze them even more with your commitment and creativity. Aww. So keep creating, keep building. We can't wait to see what you'll do next, and we're here to support you along the way. And who knows, when you reach your 1,000,000th subscriber, we may just write to you and ask, do you remember your 100,000 subscriber? Yeah, that's crazy. We got a card? What is this? Oh, it actually tells me the award was inspected and packaged by Rick. Thanks, Rick. I think I got one of your hairs. And here it is. Ah, man. Look at it. Look at it. Let me hold this. Oh my gosh, dude. Presented to Jesse's Auditorium for passing 100,000 subscribers. Oh my gosh, this thing has like a mirror finish. I didn't know that. Yeah, you can see yourselves. Crazy. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, you know, this was like this is a group effort, you know. I know I'm yapping a lot, but I hate to be cliche, but you know, we all did it together. And people ask me all the time what it takes to like be successful, how to grow an audience, and my answer is always the same. I don't have advice for you. Like there is no magic pill. You can do a lot of things and you can, yeah, get in the algorithm, but can you retain those people? Can you make them feel welcome? Do you have some kind of personality to have them stay around? I never thought I did. And that's why it's so crazy to me. This whole thing is wild to me. I always believed in myself, but at the same time, I really didn't. That's the human part of me. Like, I have imposter syndrome like crazy, but I'm also confident in some areas. But I never thought it would be like this, you know, like 100,000. I think the important thing is to not let it get to your head and be like, oh, okay, well, you know, now I got it. Like, this is crazy to me. Like, I'm going to see this all the time and just doubt it every single time I see it. But the thing I'm most proud of, honestly, is that I got here just being myself. It's okay to, you know, be confident in yourself and acknowledge what your strengths are without sounding cocky, you know what I mean? But I'm really proud that I didn't have to like take shortcuts, buy bots, fake numbers, fake reactions, whatever. Like, I just was myself, you know. That is the rewarding part of getting here and it taking this while. And it's not a race either, you know. So I don't know. I'm gonna be looking at that the whole time, but we have a lot of video to record. I just wanted to thank everyone. I don't know where I'm gonna put this. It's kind of, you know, like I might just be obnoxious and just have it here or something. I don't know. I don't really have. Maybe I'll just create a wall right there. But thank you so much for the 100K. Let's progress with the video, and Here's to who knows how many more. For this next part of the video, I'm going to go over my personal top favorite things. People ask me all the time, every day, Jesse, what are your favorite soundtracks? What are the soundtracks that got you, from the auditorium to your personal? So I've narrowed it down to the top 15. Most of these I already had just from my experience with the games before the auditorium, and a few in there sprinkled since I started doing them. So we're just gonna get into it right now. These are gonna be kind of rapid fire. But my favorite soundtrack of all time is Bloody Roar 2. And my favorite songs, in order, I'm always going to say in order, 1, 2, 3, is Tatami, Cosmic Vegetation, otherwise known as Dome, the Dome stage, and Fresh Fish, or the Aquarium stage. After Bloody Roar 2, I don't really have second place, third place. I just kind of rank the next 14s randomly, so take that with a grain of salt. After that, we'll have Tekken 5, which includes Tekken 5 Dark Resurrection, Moonlit Wilderness, Hall of Fate Resurrection, and Estrada de Estrella. After that, we have Street Fighter Alpha 3. This game is so impactful all my life. Incredible music, so fun. We have Daybreak, the credits theme, Crimson, otherwise known as Vegas theme or Claw, and Resolution, otherwise known as Chun-Li's theme. Next, we have Ape Escape, a game I have mentioned hundreds of times, if not thousands, and I love the entire soundtrack, but I had to choose 3. My number 1 is Sushi Temple, followed by Snowy Mammoth, and then Coral Cave. After that, we have potentially one of the first video game soundtracks I ever heard in my life. It's very possible because it was on the Sega Genesis, and I remember as a kid I had Mortal Kombat and Sonic. So it was one of those two that I heard first, but those were the first introductions to video game music. And Mortal Kombat on Sega Genesis specifically has, still to this day, some of the best keyboard synth sounds I've ever heard. The arrangements by Matt Furniss are insane. They're so good. And my favorite songs from that are The Warrior Shrine, The Pit, and Throne Room. Another fighting game is Skullgirls, The Lives We Left Behind, in rapid succession, and Dirge of the Divine Trinity. This is such an amazing soundtrack with such a stacked cast of composers. If you're familiar with Castlevania, Michiru Yamane, and others, this is such a good soundtrack of old-time jazz and noir and rock, and it's all over the place. It's so good. I love Skullgirls music, and you should check it out. Street Fighter 4, one of the most impactful games in the fighting game community. We have the theme of Makoto, the theme of Ibuki, and the theme of DJ. The first two are actually remixes from Third Strike, or Street Fighter 3 in general. But DJ's is exclusive to the Street Fighter 4 version, but that's also technically remixed. Anyways, those are my favorite 3 songs. But that soundtrack, Street Fighter 4 soundtrack, is not only huge, but it's just one of the best sounding video game soundtracks I've ever heard. Metal Gear Solid, pretty much my favorite game of all time. Still remember playing it for the first time and just being so captivated by a story and these mechanics and the way the weapons work, and it still blows my mind. And honestly, anytime I do anything stealthy, I always just remember MGS. But anyways, also this game possesses my favorite video game song of all time, which is The Best Is Yet to Come, which I've always associated with my journey on YouTube. So, fun fact, if you ever want to see me cry, just look up my channel and then The Best Is Yet to Come. Followed by Enclosure and Mantis Hymn. After that, we have Sonic the Hedgehog, the first one on the Sega Genesis. Again, one of the very first games I played. I still remember, I'm pretty sure that game came with the Sega because I remember the cartridge had a not for resale sign on it. And I'm pretty sure that came with, the consoles at the time. But being one of the first things I ever heard in my life, as far as, being 4 or 5 years old and hearing Green Hill Zone and stuff, that always stuck with me, and just how amazing that Sega chip sounded with the bass and everything. I'll never forget those first 2 or 3 Sonics where it just had that amazing sound. But anyways, Marble Zone is my favorite song in that game, followed by Green Hill Zone, and then Starlight Zone. But in reality, I love all of them. After that, another game very important to my youth, my first Nintendo game ever, Pokemon Yellow, and one of the only Game Boy games I've ever played, really, because I just had my Game Boy was pretty much just a Pokemon Yellow machine. I didn't really play it too much, But I loved Yellow. Technically my first RPG as well. And every single song in that game just immediately shoots me back to being a kid. Pokemon Yellow is one of probably the most nostalgic sounding soundtrack to me. The beeps, the boops, everything has such melodic integrity in it. And I love that soundtrack so much. And my favorite songs are Battle versus Trainer, of course. I like all the battle themes, but Trainer, Pewter City, and the Pokemon Center. Pokemon Yellow is just goated, man. Next game is a game called Gunbound. I'm not sure if a lot of people here have heard of it, but if you've ever heard of the game Worms, it's like Worms, kind of. It's like this 2D mobile thing where you try to either destroy other mobiles or the ground beneath them and like making them fall off the map. But I played it a lot during, oh god, middle school? I don't remember, but I played it a lot at the time, and I remember I had like dial-up internet, and the music of that game was just so charming and catchy. Every single song sounded like this just jolly, catchy thing, and some of these never have escaped my head. I'm not even sure if Gunbound is still around. I have no idea. I haven't kept up with it, but it's one of the first memories of me playing like PC games, and I loved it at the time. Favorite songs are Sudden Death, the Metropolis stage, and See You Hero. My next personal top favorite is Marvel Superheroes versus Street Fighter. If you weren't there for the 90s craze of Capcom, you missed out. We had Marvel vs. Capcom, X-Men Children of the Atom, multiple Marvel vs. Capcoms, and you have Marvel versus Street Fighter, then you had, I think, X-Men versus Street Fighter, all these crossovers, these things. You have to remember back in the 90s, like, now it's kind of expected to have like guest stars and stuff like that, but that just wasn't a thing back then. So seeing like Wolverine fighting, Ken from Street Fighter was just crazy. But anyways, this soundtrack has always stuck with me because it's like so funky and fresh. Everything sounds really lively. And the main thing that I really enjoyed about it is the same reason I like Street Fighter Alpha 3's music. Is, long story short, all the music that Street Fighter is mostly known for, composed by Yoko Shimomura of like Kingdom Hearts fame and other stuff, Mario, Luigi, and all that. She kind of created this blueprint of songs in Street Fighter 2, and then they have since arranged multiple hundreds of versions of those songs throughout the years. But Marvel Superheroes with Street Fighter took all that out the window and just made all new compositions for these characters, and they just are so cool. Some of them I like way better than the original themes, and some I've never had themes before. And the duo female composition team for this is also really cool. So my favorite songs are Wolverine's theme, you've heard it here on the channel, Omega Red, and the theme of the hidden character. If you've never heard Marvel Superheroes or Street Fighter, it's a short one, but check it out. The next three games I'm going to talk about are games that I discovered here in my journey of finding video game music. So the VOD page or the playthrough page, that wasn't really supposed to happen. I was always against it because it just wasn't my thing. But it became like this sort of byproduct on accident of, me being so curious about the games that I'm playing or the games that I'm hearing that I wanted to maybe hear more in the soundtrack, as opposed to just hearing them like, their albums. I want to like kind of go through the game and experience it. And these three were just kind of like those really, really high up there ones that I really enjoyed the games, and I just love the entire soundtrack. And one of them is a very recent game, Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance, my first Atlas experience. I love that game. It's basically adult Pokemon. It's funny, it's a great difficulty, it's so much replayability, stories, whatever, but it's such a great game, and it's just, for being my first Atlas game, it really just kind of like opened my eyes to that studio. And I love every song in this game, but my favorites are Battle Gliding, The Demon Hunt 1, and Alkalic Acid Rush. If you know, you know. The next game I discovered on the channel back in 2021 with Counterattack and played last year was Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I played the whole series. I loved it. Storytelling was incredible. Characters are amazing. So there's so much to talk about, but basically one thing that's universally agreed upon is the soundtracks to these games are unbelievably nuts, with so much. We have Yoko Shimomura, Yasunori Mitsuda, and then of course the chunk of the soundtrack, which is Ace and Ace Plus, Kenji Hiramatsu. It's some of the coolest music in all the video games, and even amongst 1, 2, and 3, which all have amazing soundtracks, I just like 2's the most. It's also my favorite game of the 3. So it's just, I can go on and on, but Xenoblade Chronicles, man, dude, they just do not miss with not only their games, but of course their soundtracks. And my favorites were Fonzamaima Night, Counterattack, and the Song of Gigarosa. And finally in this top 15 is another game I discovered here, and that is NieR Automata. I have loved my whole journey with NieR. It's been so, I feel like it was the first time that I had a lot of like different opinions on stuff. I had a lot of positivity, but it was also the first time I got like backlash because of how I did something in a certain part of the game, and people were like, "Oh, you did that." So it was like the first time I was like, "Oh, you know, what I do in game, matters to someone else," or something like that, instead of me just playing it. But NieR Automata as an experience gave me the same feeling that I had with Metal Gear Solid, where it made me question video games and see things differently. The game, the way the game plays is just so unique and cool. I loved it. I loved every part of it, and I'm not going to spoil it, but the music, of course, is incredible. I've seen it live. It's just doesn't sound like anything else to me, and still to this day, nothing really sounds like NieR. So much so that I compare other games to NieR when I think it starts to sound like it. I can't think of anything that sounded like that before it. And my favorite songs are Dark Colossus, Kaiju, Possessed by Disease, and Pascal. That was just one of the lists that I'm going to have in this video, where those are just my top favorites that I've always had personally, because people always ask me. But later we're going to have the lists of the games I have discovered and that I played, and just kind of do them in that way as well, in a very similar fashion. And that's coming up next. So this next segment is very similar to the last one, and it's going to be going over all the games that I've played in kind of rapid fashion, just like very mini quick reviews and my favorite 3 songs from them, and that's about it. By the way, if you didn't know, in my description below there's like a little link tree of all my like socials, and there's a backlogged page in there, and I regularly update that. That has like every game I've played, what's backlogged, and I do reviews too there. There's more in-depth reviews, not every game, but most of them. Anyways, so we're gonna go in alphabetical order, and I'm just gonna kind of like go through these because there's a lot to do today. A Hat in Time, one of the best games I've ever played, one of the best soundtracks I've ever heard. It is one of the main reasons why I even decided to go into Super Mario 64, which I'm currently playing right now. I loved Hat Kid. She has 2 of my emotes on Twitch. She has 3 of my emotes on Twitch. So she's such a cool character. And I loved everything about the game, the movement, everything, voice acting, all of it. Amazing stuff. But my favorite songs are The Windmill Peak, Rush Hour, and Murder on the Owl Express. Murder. After that, we have Bayonetta, a game I decided to play last year based on its length. Also, someone gifted it to me, so shout out to that viewer. And by the way, that doesn't mean that anyone should gift me games expecting me to play it. It's just, I was kind of in this moment where I kind of wanted to play something off stream, and I saw the length of it. I'm like, oh, 15 hours, okay. And then I saw who made it, which is Platinum Games, and I have a good history with Platinum Games. So yeah, it was really fun. I loved Bayonetta, the way the voices are. It's a lot of humor in it, and everything was pretty great about that game, except for the camera, but that doesn't really matter. And I don't know, it's just a really good, fun time. If you like a game to kind of like turn off your brain and just start killing a bunch of enemies and doing combos while shooting guns from your heels, then Bayonetta is great. It's an awesome series. And my favorite songs are Let's Dance Boys, Fly Me to the Moon, both versions, but mostly the ending one, and Riders of the Light. Next, we have Castlevania Symphony of the Night. This is a game I've always heard about and I've always wanted to play, because I remember being a kid and seeing the artwork and just being fascinated by like that castle and the way the font looks. And considering I had a tiny bit of experience with Metrovanias before that with Guacamelee, I was always interested. And before the Auditorium, I always heard of the song Bloody Tears. So I was somewhat kind of, I wouldn't say familiar, but I've always was interested in playing Castlevania. So when I finally got it, very, very fun. I played the PC version that comes with 2 games. I forgot the other one. I think it's Rondo of Blood. I didn't play that though. Incredible soundtrack with so much variety. I thought it was all going to be like gothic keys and stuff and organ, but it's like rock, flamenco, hip hop, like 90s hip hop, synth stuff. It's crazy. Marble Gallery is my favorite song. Wandering Ghost is my second, and Lost Painting is my third, although this was really hard to pick. But Symphony of the Night, damn. Chrono Trigger is another game I played 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, I don't know. And what I remember about that specifically was I played that at the exact same time as The Legend of Dragoon, which we'll talk about later. And that was a bad idea. I don't recommend anyone to play more than, 2 games at the same time is already kind of iffy, but 2 RPGs, both starting like at the beginning at the same time, it was, I couldn't tell who was who, what, it was a lot. Anyways, Chrono Trigger was a lot of fun. I really liked the whole time aspect, and the mechanics were really fun. I liked fighting a lot in that game. I didn't flee from a lot of fights in that game. It was fun to interact with the whole team and all that. Amazing music, especially from someone having a debut. That's their debut soundtrack. That's nuts to me. Having Nobuo Uematsu in there too was the story of Chrono Trigger soundtrack is amazing. But my favorite song, which I love this song. I listen to it all the time. I even made my own like blues guitar arrangement of it, and that's Shala's theme. Followed by the Undersea Palace, otherwise known as the Ocean Palace, and Secret of the Forest. There's so many damn good songs in this game, but those 3 I just always constantly hear in my head, and it has a sound font that doesn't sound like anything else. Chrono Trigger has its own sound, and that's pretty hard to do. Up next is Devil May Cry 5. If you were interested, by the way, I interviewed the composer for this game, Casey Edwards. Maybe I'll put it here or just somewhere, but it's in the Composer Chronicles playlist. And that, fun fact actually, Devil May Cry is still and has been my most watched video on this channel for the longest time, with Bury the Light. I don't even know what it's at right now. I'm pretty sure it's over 500,000 views. I don't check it regularly. I don't know what it's at now, but that song is larger than life. It's such a cool time when it plays in game too. I'm not going to spoil it. The game was okay. It wasn't my favorite thing in the world. It was really fun and it looked great. The only thing I didn't really like, there was 2 main things. It was the kind of repetitive levels, but also the fact that I started with the 5th one, and it's just like I didn't understand any of the references. But other than that, solid game, great soundtrack, and my favorite ones, of course, Bury the Light, incredible song, Devil Trigger opening remix, the opening theme, and Crimson Cloud. This next little section is FF7 remake and rebirth, so we're gonna kind of fly through this. Final Fantasy VII was played after remake, and I played this kind of modded version of it, which I really liked. And another fun fact is that one of my most watched videos here is like a little clip, and it's when I first hear the music of the Forgotten Capital. I'm not going to say where that plays, but that stopped me, and it's so funny that raw reaction got so many hits, because that's essentially what my channel is all about anyways. So anyone who saw that randomly on their like homepage, it would be quite entertaining to know that my whole channel is based on that, basically. But Final Fantasy VII, one of the greatest games. Still my favorite Final Fantasy that I've played. I've played a handful of them, and that's a whole other story. But great cast, memorable soundtrack, and it's just a really cool thing. I really like that game. Favorite songs is Listen to the Cries of the Planet, Genova, and One Winged Angel. Right after that, it's Final Fantasy VII Remake, the first game I played that got me interested in. Actually, let me give its flowers. I've said this a handful of times, but in case you didn't know, Final Fantasy VII Remake was so strong of a first impression that it made me interested in even playing RPGs at all. Even though it wasn't my first, I kind of consider it my first, because it I hadn't played one for like 20 something years. I don't even know how long, but since 1998. So with that being Pokemon Yellow. So going into remake, I was like, whoa, I've been missing out on this whole like turn system, and it was really, really cool. The game still holds up. It looks really gorgeous. And, even though it's just one little part of the entire game, I really enjoyed remake. But yeah, that said, incredible soundtrack as well, even though they're just all remixes of the original soundtrack. My favorite song is Hollow Skies, which is a unique song to that game. The Airbuster and the Valkyrie. Two of these songs on this top 3 are originals to remake. The Airbuster is the only original song that's on there, which is what is it? Still Fight Further, the battle theme, the boss battle theme. Anyways, remake is cool. Finally, we have Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. This is a game that as soon as it came out, I just kind of locked myself in my little dungeon and beat it. I beat it in like a week, and I even beat it twice. I beat it on hard mode after that. It was one of those games where I just didn't want to leave the world. If you're a Final Fantasy VII fan, Rebirth is like Disneyland. Every little like and that's for me as a newer fan. At that point, I had been a fan for like 2 or 3 years. I can only imagine what Rebirth was like. Well, I mean, I know it's a split thing, but for the people that really liked FF7 as a kid, that played on PlayStation or whatever, Rebirth must have just been like, whoa, for many reasons, but I really enjoyed it. I think it's one of the best games I've ever played. It's really fun. It looks gorgeous. The story, of course, music amazing. But I haven't had a chance to talk much about the music since I played it, but my favorite songs, number 1 actually is Under Junon, the Sunless Oasis. That's a place you're not there very long, but it's an incredible song. The Turks boss battle. I don't know if it's a spoiler anymore, but if you don't want to hear it, just close your ears right now. That's when you fight Elena and Song. And the first time you hear the Genova boss theme, the Genova Emergence on the ship. So many good songs, but those 3, I just, damn, If you're a fan of NieR music, like I am, that Genova Emergence is going to hit super hard. After that, we have Final Fantasy VIII, a game that is very interesting for a lot of reasons. It's definitely a game. And I've noticed that it's one of those, I was even warned this about the game before I started by a good friend of mine in real life. And they said they love that game, but they understand how people hate it. And it's always been seen as this kind of black or white thing. There's no gray area with it. And I can kind of see that. But despite the game, there was a lot of beautiful moments in it. There was some tearjerker sections. And the soundtrack, though, I have always said has been top-notch. Probably, I don't know this, but it's hard to say this, but it's probably one of my favorite, if not favorite, soundtracks in Final Fantasy. It's pretty damn strong, dude. My favorite song is The Stage is Set, Eyes on Me, and Man with the Machine Gun. Shout out Laguna. After that, we have Final Fantasy IX, another game I really, really enjoyed. I didn't think I was going to enjoy it, but I did. I'm not sure why. I don't know. I guess sometimes I just go with my gut feeling, and like I kind of not judge a book by its cover, but I just can't help how sometimes I look at something and I'm like, maybe not. It's not for me is the better word. But I'm glad I went with it because FF9 was a really, really good time, very high fantasy and incredible soundtrack again, and just really fun. And some of my favorite characters in there, Steiner, Vivi, all of them. Not Alone is my favorite song. I don't think that's a hot take. I think almost everyone agrees with that. That song is amazing. After that is Terra and Endless Sorrow. Next game is a short but sweet game called Fury. If you have ever heard the soundtrack of Hotline Miami, you might recognize some of the composers here and maybe even the same sound and energy. Fury is a really fun game. It can be a little challenging too because it takes some getting used to. But all it is just a boss rush game. You start the game, you're in a boss fight, and you do, 10, 11 of those, and you're done with the game. You can beat the whole thing in like 3 hours. And, that's enticing as a streamer or just someone who wants to play something for the day. Really cool art. It's the same guy from Afro Samurai who did the art. And some of the most intense, coolest soundtrack. I wish I have it, but it's like somewhere else. But I actually bought the soundtrack on cassette I have it on cassette, I promise. You know what? Let me just go get it because it's going to drive me nuts. All right, I knew if I didn't show you, it was going to like drive me crazy. But see, I have it on cassette. Remember cassettes, man? They were so cool. Speaking of cassettes, I forgot to mention this earlier, but I also have MGS on cassette, which I think is super sick. Anyways, Fury soundtrack. Ultimate gym playlist, great adrenaline, hard hitting, and just wow. Favorite songs: Make This Right, You're Mine, and My Only Chance. After that, we have Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII. I'm going to keep this one short and sweet because this is a game that you should just play on your own. But if you are unaware, this is the prequel to Final Fantasy VII. And if you're a fan of the game, this is almost like an unmissable game. It's really important to get the lore before everything happened in Midgar and Cloud, you know. So you meet another new character. Zack is really cool, and I'll just leave it at that. Some really cool music. It's very different from the rest of Final Fantasy. It's got more of a grungy sound, and that's what makes it kind of cool. A lot of, you know, hard-hitting guitar riffs and big drums. My favorite songs are Wandering Under the Moonlight, Night of Seclusion, and The Price of Freedom. Up next, we have Final Fantasy X, the most recent game I've completed from me recording. I just finished this game, and it's still a little early for me to like kind of put my thoughts together. I like to have some time to think about it. But overall, I really enjoyed the game. I liked the characters, some more than others, and it even gave me my new favorite protagonist. And this was also had the good variety of a new type of soundtrack. It's a different type of Final Fantasy soundtrack for sure, as opposed to just the single, you know, sound of Nobuo Uematsu. Now we have like Junya Nakano and Masashi Hamauzu. So it's like a really colorful all-around soundtrack. And it was just a really cool game that I have to revisit sometime, but I got to still put my thoughts on it. But overall, I really enjoyed it. Shout out Jeff. Favorite songs. I knew this was going to be my favorite song before I even heard play the game, and it never changed, and that's Wandering Flame from Hamauzu. After that, we have Fight with Seymour and Xanarkin. Both are from Nobuo Uematsu. Final Fantasy X soundtrack is pretty lit. The next game I'm going to talk about is Hades, the original game. This is a game that was extremely hard to put down. I played it 2 years ago now, actually. And one of the very few games that I've platinumed or did all the trophies for. I never do that. But with this game, it was so fun. If you've never played a roguelike game, or if you think it's not your cup of tea, maybe try it. It's surprisingly, like, it kind of turns over a lot of people. There's just a lot of depth to it, and it's really fun. It's one of the most fun games ever. And fun is important when everything sucks. So Hades is amazing. Darren Korb, of course, from Supergiant Games. Great stuff. I can't wait to play Hades 2. Favorite songs are From Olympus, Scourge of the Furies, which I did a guitar cover for, and In the Blood. About a year ago, I played Hollow Knight, and I quite enjoyed my time with that, although the story kind of confused me, but I think that's intended. And I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to play Silksong to like understand the whole thing, like the whole grasp of the story. But to be honest, that's a game where, this might be a hot take, I don't know, but the story didn't really like matter too much to me. I was just enjoying it for everything else besides the visuals, the music, the way it played, it moves, the difficulty is it can get a little up there, but it's just an overall really solid game. Like it's a cute game, yet kind of scary, kind of not. But if you want to challenge yourself just a tiny bit, I do recommend Hollow Knight. It's a really good game. I have no idea when or if I'm going to play Silksong, but you know, it was a good time. And the team that made it, you know, was just like a small group of people, and it's really inspiring. So, from Christopher Larkin, my favorite songs are Hornet, the first song I ever heard, Broken Vessel, and Soul Sanctum. After that, we have The Legend of Dragoon. I have a tiny history with this game. Long story short, this was first played by me on a demo on the PS1 long ago, many moons ago. I don't remember what demo. I think it was either Jam Pack Summer 99 or Summer 2000. It was like right around that era. And I do remember even then it standing out because, again, I hadn't really played many games like that. Before that, it was only Pokemon Yellow. So I do remember that demo very vividly. You start off like very early on in the game. You're not at the very beginning of the game. You're kind of thrown like into like a story moment shortly after the game starts. And I just remember back then being like, "Whoa, what is this?" You know, it's like turn-based like Pokemon, but you can like press the buttons and you know, I've grown to really like that style of pressing buttons during, you know, turn-based JRPGs. It's a lot of fun. FF8 had that too. Great game, kind of a odd story, and the pacing was a little odd. Like by the fourth disc, is it 4 discs or 3 discs? I don't know, but by the last disc, it gets a little like it kind of drags for a while. But I still really enjoyed it. Great cast and a big tearjerker in there too. Horrible voice acting, but that's expected. That's what makes it funny. Legend of Dragoon is 2 composers, and one from Japan, one from America, and they both just have this. They each have their own individual sounds, and they're both just so cool. My favorite songs are Hoax Village, Shauna's theme, and Rose's theme. The next game I'm going to talk about is Lost Odyssey, a game that actually kind of reminds me a little bit of Legend of Dragoon. But they both have their you know, pressing a button during their attacks to get more benefits from the attack. It's really fun in this game. It's got the ring system. This is a game I recommend to anyone who is a fan of Final Fantasy, as it is from the creator of Final Fantasy, and the composer Nobuo Uematsu as well. So it's some people call this the true Final Fantasy 13, and unfortunately, it's stuck to the Xbox. So if you do have any sort of Xbox console, you can get it. But for the longest time, it was just stuck to the 360. So basically, a story about immortality and you thinking your life over, you know, being a mortal is just, it's something, you know. And the biggest thing for me about this game was these little short stories throughout called The 1,000 Years of Dreams. And it's basically like kind of like journal entries as someone who's lived that long and seen multiple people pass and friends pass. It's a great story. Great soundtrack. It's fun. It's not too long. If you get a chance to play it, I highly recommend it. And I also even got the 1,000 Year of Dreams right here. I can't read it because it's all in Japanese, but this is really, really cool. This game was awesome. Kaim Argonar is a great character. And by the way, if you do decide to play or watch a playthrough of this, my personal recommendation is to hear it in Japanese. It sounds way more professional and fits the characters more, where in English it sounds kind of cheap and silly. That's just my opinion. Anyways, soundtrack is nuts. The main theme is my favorite song, followed by Never Ending Journey, which is the map theme, and then Battle Conditions. If you are a fan of Nobuo Uematsu's battle themes, you are going to love the song Battle Conditions. Next in line is Octopath Traveler, a game I finished last year around this time. That is also, obviously, I discovered it here, and that is from the mind of Yasunori Nishiki. And congrats to them because they just released Octopath Traveler 0. I still haven't even played 2, so I really enjoyed the game. I'm not going to go way into, you know, why I stopped playing it, but I pretty much did everything to the most of my abilities. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's Octo, so it's 8. There's 8 characters, 8 paths, 8 stories. It's really fun. They're all divided by chapters. And, you know, it's a really gorgeous looking game with a lot of charm to it. Voice acting is pretty good too. It's made to look like an older 90s kind of JRPG, but with like HD 2D graphics. So I really enjoyed my time with it. Some of the best music in video games to me. And my favorite songs are Discord, Determination, and Decisive Battle 1. The next game I want to talk about is Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance from Platinum Games. Same people as NieR Automata and Bayonetta. Platinum they just know how to make stuff with like hack and slash, right? And that's exactly what this is. Metal Gear Rising is it's like taking like a Monster Energy drink or like 10 of them and then just go, you know. If you were ever on the fence of playing this because you thought it was like Metal Gear, it's nothing like Metal Gear. It's not. It's really like its own thing. When you think of, or at least when I think of Metal Gear or Metal Gear Solid, you think of stealth, you know, quiet and moving around meticulously and, you know, being that kind of play style and really story focused. Metal Gear Rising is like the complete opposite. While there is a story, you're not really playing it for it. You're immediately thrown into the action. You're just running around, getting caught on purpose, just trying to build up combos, and it's really funny too. There's a lot of funny meme material from this game. I also got a chance to talk to Jamie Christopherson, the composer. It's been a really cool time with that game. But an amazing rock and metal soundtrack, and a lot of the songs are going to get stuck in your head. My favorites are Rules of Nature, It Has to Be This Way, and The Only Thing I Know for Real. Some of my favorite reactions on this channel. Next game is NieR Automata. I just talked about it with Platinum Games and Metal Gear Rising. I already spoke about it before in my personal list. Amazing game, one of life-changing games, but I will say, since it's on here, again, I'm going to give you 3 more songs that I really enjoyed, because I already gave you my top 3 in the other list, but my top 3 in this, or I guess now my top 6, would be Vague Hope, the Cold Rain version, A Beautiful Song, and A Weight of the World, the End of Yorha edition. NieR Automata is just something that everyone should experience. Can't talk about NieR Automata without talking about NieR Replicant, in this case NieR Replicant version 1.22, the one that is just currently easily available. That is I don't want to say prequel, but it's the game that came before Automata, I'll just say that. And a lot of people prefer, well, I don't know, it's kind of mixed. A lot of people prefer one or the other, but I've always liked Automata better, but Replicant has its merits. The soundtrack is incredible. There's also the original soundtrack and then the updated one. Both are great. But the characters are really memorable in this game. And the music, very emotional. And one of the songs here, which is my favorite song, was really, really close to getting me to tear up. Yeah, it's a good song. My favorite song is Emil Sacrifice, Shadow Lord, and Grandma. One of the few retro games I have played, and that's Shinobi 3. This game is kind of interesting because I do remember it's kind of a hazy memory. I don't know if I rented this game, played it at a friend's house, or watched videos of it. Like, I had some experience with Shinobi 3, Return of the Ninja Master, at some point in my life, but I don't remember when or how. I know I didn't own it. We didn't own many games, but I did play it somehow. And I remember some things, like visually, like I remember riding the horse. That's something that sticks with you. Riding a horse in a side-scroller game, like that sticks with you. Anyways, when I had a chance to hear the music again, I was like, ooh, yeah, this is cool. And it made me want to beat the game for real. This game is tough. I had to use save states. It's a tough game. It's not the hardest thing in the world, but it's a little unforgiving. But the soundtrack is so good. It's just, it has everything, and just the sound font of the Sega Genesis, like on full blast. I love it. This is my favorite songs are Solitary, Ground Zero, and Whirlwind. A game I talked about previously in my top list. This is Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance. Again, amazing game. First Atlas experience. I loved it. It's basically a dope Pokemon. Since I already gave you 3 songs there, I'll give you an extra 3 songs that I really, really enjoyed, though I loved every part of it. I do like Fool's Rushin, or Fool's Russian. There's also Beast of Bloodshed, which I really enjoyed, and Battle Adversary. I loved every song in this game, for the most part. Up next is Wild Arms, a 90s JRPG. Looks very similar to Chrono Trigger or stuff like Final Fantasy VI. It's got that same look. And this is kind of like Western themed, although not really. I hear the other games are more Western themed, but this one is like, it just feels kind of normal. But that's kind of why I got into it at first, because I'm a huge fan of Western music, spaghetti Western music from like Ennio Morricone. And this whole soundtrack is basically Ennio Morricone as chiptune. And that's what's so cool about it. It's amazing. Still has the best intro theme I've heard in the game. And it's a really fun game. A little challenging, but there's a lot of customization. It's really, really nice. My favorite songs are Into the Wilderness, Funeral Procession, and Dreams of a Lonely Past. After that, we have Yakuza 0, my first time and only time so far with RGG Studios. This was a great introduction and one of the coolest games because I feel like when people get into Yakuza, they don't really know what they're getting themselves into, myself included. I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but if you just think it's like a beat 'em up, you're very wrong. And I'll just leave it at that. Give it a shot and maybe try the first chapter, and I promise you might be hooked. Great story, great cast, hilarious, a lot of things, but the music is fantastic. My favorite songs are Pledge of Demon, With Vengeance, and Fatal Conflict. Since we're doing it alphabetical order, the last couple songs are from Xenoblade Chronicles. I just finished All the 3 games, technically 6 games in the past year and a half. Each game has base game plus a DLC at the end of it, post game. Starting with Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. This is a remake from the Xenoblade Chronicles game on Wii. And my introduction. What's to say? I mean, characters great, locations great, a whole new way for me to play. I never done auto attacks in this kind of palette system, like MMO style. Really, really cool. So much brain rot and terms and meeting no pawns, and it's just it's a cool world to get sucked into, and you know, you kind of don't want to leave. But every time that I meet someone new that likes Xenoblade Chronicles, just like, yeah, you're one of us, you know. I still have yet to play X, or Cross, but Xenoblade Chronicles 1 is just, it's so special. I love it. I don't want to say anything about Xenoblade Chronicles. You kind of just have to experience it. But my favorite song by far is Forest of the Nippon at Night, otherwise known as the night theme of Machna Forest, followed by Engage the Enemy and Gower Plain. Right after you beat Xenoblade Chronicles, you go into Xenoblade Chronicles Future Connected. This was part of the Definitive Edition package. And it's, again, post-game DLC, and now focuses on another character as the main character. And that is really good because that character is my favorite character. So it really worked out. It's a little tiny bite-sized Xenoblade. You can beat it in like 30 hours or something. Also has new music, and they started to do a lot more jazz, and it's just great. If you're a fan of No Pawn, this is the game for you. Future Connected, my favorite songs are Fog Beast. Damn, that song is crazy. By On His Shoulder, Daytime, and Time to Fight. After that, of course, you have Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I already talked about this before, but it is my favorite game of the 3 and my favorite soundtrack of the 3. It's a really special game to me. And since I already gave you some songs in that, which were my top 3, I'll give you some extra ones that are just as good. And that is Roaming the Waste, which is the bottom section of More Ardain, both day and night. Leftharian Archipelago, both day and night. And Tantal, both day and night. Amazing music, a lot of variety, and just, damn. Just like the first Xenoblade, there is a DLC for 2, and that is Torna, the Golden Country. A really impressive DLC, and it's so chunky that it has its own physical copy of it. And it's, even though it's like the same kind of length, there's still like a lot to do. It's really, really cool. And I'm not going to spoil anything there. It's just another game you have to play that takes place in the world of Xenoblade 2. My favorite song by far is Oresco, daytime version. Then we have Battle Torna, one of the best battle themes I've ever heard in my life, which is just a generic battle theme, by the way. And Over Despair and Animus. This one is very underrated. I don't talk about this often, but those that play this song is kind of buried under a lot of sound effects and dialogue. It's a very emotional, like, heightened section of the game. I'm not going to say where it plays because of spoilers, but check out Over Despair and Animus. You probably missed it when you played it. The final Xenoblade is Xenoblade Chronicles 3, game I played last year. Had a lot of fun with it. Met the best, probably the best character I've met in any RPG thus far. This is Lance. He's pretty cool and hilarious. The game was really, really good, but I liked the DLC just a little bit better. It just feels like everything that the studio has been doing, but, you know, everything has just been polished now, and they really know how to run this Xenoblade machine. No pun intended. Great songs, and my favorites are Mobius Battle, which is just nuts, the energy that thing has, Chain Attack, and the City theme. And the final song on this list, it is the ending of Xenoblade as well. This is, or the trilogy, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Future Redeemed. This is similar to the other two, the post-game that you play for Xenoblade 3. Incredible, incredible, incredible. Great, 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 great. So many cool things about it. And my favorite songs are Redeem the Future, A New Battle, and The Black Mountains Daytime. And that's it. You know, there's still games I'm playing. There's games I'm playing right now that'll be added to these later. But check the backlog page and see my reviews for them. And it's been a fun journey so far playing these games. And you might have noticed there's a lot of RPGs here because it just so happens RPGs have really good music. But I promise I'm not just an RPG player. I play everything. Because this year I really wanted to focus on Nintendo and short games. So expect, like, you know, Zelda, Astrobot, Mario I'm playing right now, stuff like that. and I'm gonna probably play way more games because they're shorter. So, anyways, there's that section. That was 40 minutes. I was not expecting that. And let's move on to the next. So this next section is the Q&A. I haven't done a Q&A since 10,000 subscribers. I actually should go watch that video because I don't know what was asked there, and it was a while ago. It was 4 years ago. I was gonna do them more regularly, but at that time I was growing like exponentially. I was getting like thousands of subs every month, and I just was like, you know what? Let's just wait until 100,000 because I was like, oh, that's never gonna happen, and then it happened. So I have a lot of these. I have not sorted these, as you can see by this kind of pattern of the video. I just wanted to go like, from the heart and just talk at the top of my head. So some of these they might be repeating questions. I did not prepare or see these before. I'm just going to think about them, and if I have to think more, then I'll make a little cut. But we're gonna start off with some questions here. The first one is from Ride Z Shooppuff. Hello, Shoop. If you could spend a day nerding out about music and picking the brains of any video game composer, who would it be and why? Maybe I should have prepared for these questions. Well, luckily I already had a chance to. On accident, I created another series called Composer Chronicles. That wasn't supposed to happen. That just kind of happened serendipitous. I got to interview the guy from Medieval, Andrew Barnabas, and Primal, Casey Edwards from Devil May Cry, and Oliver Deriviere from South of Midnight, Dying Light, and some Assassin's Creed, Streets of Rage 4. So it's been something that's sounded my controller falling. It's been a cool little journey, but I don't know how much I'm going to do of those. But if I get the chance, then by all means, I'll do it. But if I could spend a day talking about, oh gosh, my initial just gut reaction says like Darren Korb, because that's someone who plays multiple instruments in Supergiant. He plays like the drums, the arranges, the guitars, bass, vocals. That's just such a talented person. Nobuo Uematsu, of course. I would love to. Man, I would love to talk to that guy, even just for like 10 minutes. Just incredibly talented person. And honestly, the next one would be probably Ryota Kazuka, who did most of the Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance soundtrack. If you heard of that soundtrack, you would understand why someone would want to pick their brain. There's like a tiny little like interview of him on YouTube, and that alone was like, I need to know more about this person. He has a mind that I would love to pick because it reminds me of a brain like mine, except his is way more talented. So I think that's who I can't. I mean, God, there's so many, but I think those are the first three that kind of like come to mind right now. Next question is from Paloma. If you could compose music for any game genre, what would it be? I don't think this one's that difficult. I think, to be honest, without copying out, just anything. I want to... Well, here's the thing. I would love to have the opportunity to... I don't know about maybe compose an entire game. That'd be really cool, but I think I need to like dip my toes in first and get like some guest spots. I would love to do like a guest spot, like even if it's a guitar solo in some game, not even just like a little writing credit, and then just kind of go from there, and then maybe like add a whole song or two songs. But genre-wise, I don't think it matters because I play everything. I've playing guitar for so long that I can go anywhere from like, flamenco fingerstyle to jazz and blues to metal to whatever. So I think if I was ever given the chance, I would like to take that opportunity first because it would challenge me to have to make music in that style and not just something I'm quote unquote comfortable with. I would love any opportunity to work on any game. If there's any games out there and you're seeing this, indie, whatever, and you want some guitar work, hit me up. Next question is from Days3X. How does it feel getting into JRPGs after listening to so many JRPG songs on your channel? Do they live up to the hype? Yes. Geez. Well, it's so funny because it's been like most of my life now for the past 3 years. Not all JRPGs, but a lot of the games I've played have been JRPGs. So I would say with that, honestly, I see games a little differently now. I see games as more story-centric, and I appreciate stories more. when I grew up as a kid, I was playing like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater and NFL Blitz and stuff like that. So it's just story didn't matter. I was like, unga bunga and try to score a touchdown or something. It wasn't until Metal Gear Solid where I was like, oh, Metal Gear Solid was kind of like the puberty of video games for me. Weird analogy, but that's the first thing that came to mind. And I think JRPGs are giving me that same feeling as an adult. Now with a cognitive function, emotions, real adult problems, and relating to those things. It's really cool, and I really appreciate it for that. So not only are they fun and have great music, but they really kind of type into the human psyche, and I think that's really important. Also, they have completely distorted my view of time. Most JRPGs are like 80 hours to 100 hours for me. Some go to 200. So now when I think of a short game, it's like under 30, when that's a pretty long game for others. So I don't know. But I like JRPGs quite a bit. I don't think I'm ever going to stop playing them now. The next question is from Century Sketches. When did you start playing guitar? What made you want to start learning? When? I wish I had the direct answer for that, but I want to say at 14. I think I was like about to turn 15, but it was 14. So like 22 years now, just about. I already had interest in music for a long time. I played the flute in 5th grade, and I really loved playing the flute, but I didn't stick with it. I would have been probably amazing at it by now, but I just didn't stick with it. But I still wanted to do something, and it wasn't until years later in high school where I was listening to, at this time, I was listening to a lot of like radio rock and Metallica and like, but I remember there was like a couple of guitar songs that really like stood out to me, and it made me want to be like, I can do that. And that was, there's two that really stood out to me. I was like, I think I can do that with a little practice. And the first one being What It's Like by Everlast. I still love that song. And it means a lot more as an adult now. And The Unforgiven by Metallica. There's like this little middle solo that's like 3 seconds long. And I was like, I could learn that. I could do that. And long story short, I just, I kind of planted the seed in my mom's head. I was like, it'd be cool to have a guitar. And I kid you not, like a week later, by some miracle, she's like, hey, one of my coworkers' son is selling their guitar for like $10. I was like, I don't care what it is, just let me see it. I don't care if it's acoustic, electric. And yeah, just like that. A week later, I got a guitar. I wish I still had it. I don't have it anymore. I traded it. But I got a guitar for $10, and I just started playing every day. And that was like my high school now. My high school was just get home, play guitar all day. And I still do that now. Now I have, I don't even know how many, 12? They're all behind me somewhere. But, kind of unrelated, but I'm really glad that I stuck with that, because not only is it fun and really cool, but it opened my mind to a lot of different genres, right? It's, as a musician, I get to enjoy these songs a lot more that I listen to on the channel, because I listen to everything. I don't just listen to, XYZ. It really, I already loved music to begin with, but playing the guitar like really just took that to another level, because now I'm like physically tapping into that musical prowess, which is really cool. So it's never too late to learn an instrument, boys and girls. Next question is from Cater Free 10. What's your favorite game that you've played because of the music you listen to for the channel? Oh my god, that's like asking my favorite child. I'm just gonna go off the top of my head. The things that immediately come to mind are Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance, Xenoblade 2, but I liked all of them. NieR, Automata, Rebirth. God, there were so many games. Symphony of the Night. Honestly, I've had a pretty good run with the games I've chosen. So, yeah, Metal Gear Rising, FF7. Dude, I don't know. Like that's tough. Hat in Time. Yeah, but right now my bias is leaning towards SMT. That was a really, really good game. Yeah, I would say that's one of the hardest questions I could have answered. This next part of the Q&A is a little channel I had on my Discord, and there's a lot of questions here. I haven't even seen these all. I think I might just rapid fire through these, and if I've already answered something before, then oh well. But these are from my Discord. I asked 6 months ago, apparently. I was like, hey, I'm going to put this together, and yeah, whatever. First question from JoJo Man 1. Hey, Jesse, I've been watching you for a bit over 2 years now, and the channel has become one of my favorites to watch. Thank you. My question would be, out of all your reactions, which would you say is your favorite one? You know, reading that makes me rethink how I should have done this video. Maybe I should have put that together. I mean, I have highlights coming up after, but I don't have a... that's oh man. I don't know if I have a favorite, because there's so many. But there's a few that just kind of like come to mind that are just really fun. That's like Daytona, Daytona USA, Crisis City from Sonic 06, Fairy of A.I.F from what Sonic was that? I forgot what Sonic that was, but Fairy of Aurora Icefield. Basically, any song you're going to see in the next section with the highlights, it's going to be in there. But there's just been so many fun times. I should just mention, I know I'm yapping here, but like, I have the most fun on this channel. Like, I'm always smiling, I'm always having a good time, because it's just, music does that to me, and I'm sharing it with people, like-minded people, so it's the most rewarding part of doing all this, so yeah. Amrita Dine, what has been your biggest surprise? Any crazy underdogs that are punching far above their weight? Oh man. See, I really should have prepped, because I know these questions I probably have answered before in other videos, and maybe you guys know the answer that I've said, but I can't remember right now. Underdogs. I'm glad I'm doing it this way though, because it's in line with how I normally record stuff, just kind of off the cusp. Underdogs. I don't know. First thing you know what? I'm just gonna answer the first thing that pops to mind. The first thing that came to mind right now is like, let's just say games that no one's really heard of, or the ones that are just like super not popular, like Gunpoint. Is it called Gunpoint? God, I hope I'm not saying that. The one that has the saxophone guy at the cover. Mushimura requested a lot of those. I think it's called Gunpoint. Ridge Racer. I don't know if these are underdogs, but it's just stuff that I just wasn't, expecting. Oh, Katamari. Yeah, see, once you get me going, I'm just going to start remembering all these. You guys have to remember, I've done almost 2,000 videos, which means I've done well over 2,000 songs by now. I don't even know how many. Yeah, Katamari is definitely amazing. Oh, there's so many, dude, but those are the ones that just come to mind, so. Question from Matt. What video game series soundtracks do you find yourself coming back to and listening to the most? NieR, Xenoblade, Final Fantasy, SMT 5, Persona. There's a Persona often, the ones I've heard. Jeez, dude. Question from Drago Sale. Hi, Jesse. My question is, out of all the VGM that you listen to, which soundtrack would you most want to see being performed live? Ooh. I can answer this two ways. I have seen some music live. I've been to Distant Worlds. I've been to the NieR Automata concert. That was sick. And I still want to visit other places in the world and see more of their concerts. But I would love to see Xenoblade live. Yeah, I just would love to see a whole Xenoblade thing. Or Persona. I don't know if they still do it, but I've seen like some Persona live videos, and it just looks like the most fun time. And I would say, yeah, Persona and Xenoblade are the first things that come to mind. Question from PSI Ness. Have you ever considered streaming an entire soundtrack on Twitch? Nope. That's never been my thing. There's other creators that do that. I would get really nothing out of that. That's kind of the reason why I even like go into playing games at all, is because I can kind of live it that way. But hearing anything more than like 2 songs at a time, my interest will start to dwindle no matter how good the soundtrack is. I cannot just sit there and listen to an entire game soundtrack forward and back. I have yet to ever do that, and I just know I will not like it at all. So that's why I had to have it like in bite-sized chunks and just kind of go from there. Next question from Black Flan. has your general music taste and knowledge evolved significantly since you first started reacting to VGM in the Auditorium? In what way? Yep. Yeah. Like I said, I have always been a fan of multiple styles of music. Always. I grew up with hip hop. I grew up with like regional Mexican music. I grew up with rock and stuff. I played guitar, so I got into metal. I really listen to everything except for country. I know that sounds kind of like cliche, but cliche or country is its own world. I don't even consider it like a music genre. That sounds messed up, but I think if you like country, you understand that you have to kind of like live that life, and I just don't live that life, so I don't get anything from country. But as far as the knowledge part, yeah, I started taking music lessons. I'm still constantly learning. I never claim to be a full-on expert on all these things. I'm always learning stuff all the time. And I think that's the exciting thing, not only about music, but the Auditorium, that they both, in tandem, are this constant, like, knowledge journey. So, yeah. Question from SS Coconut. What's your favorite video game you've played as a result of music you've heard on the channel? I feel like I kind of answered that before. Dude, I don't know. The thing about these kind of questions, where they're so like, pinpoint, is I feel like I could change my answer depending on what day you ask me. Like right now, my brain says SMT5 Vengeance, but if you asked me like a year ago, I would have said like NieR Automata or Xenoblade. You know what I mean? Like it's just, I don't know. It's so hard. My favorite, I don't know if I have one. Just to give you an answer for now, my recency bias would be SMT5 Vengeance. But that's like impossible to answer. Question from J2O Juiced. Who or what inspired you the most to want to play the guitar? Just answer that basically. I just thought I could do it, and I have a lot of noises in my head that I wanted to put into actual notes. And just to elaborate a little bit further on that, I'm always about people picking up an instrument, because you'd be surprised at what you internally have that could be music, because you have like a second language in there just waiting to come out. I did not know I had so many different emotions and things to say until I started playing the guitar, because now I'm like it's speaking for me, if that makes any sense. And that was really cool. I learned that very early on in the first like month of starting. I was like, oh, this is like a whole new part of my brain I didn't even know I had. So, yeah. Question from Basim. Is there any song or soundtrack that impacted how you think about your own playing? About my own, how I think about my own playing? No. Not sure what the question is. How I think about my own playing? Like, question my abilities? No. Not sure how to answer that. I want to say no, but I'm trying to think of something that was like been very difficult, maybe that I thought maybe I should try and play or tackle. I don't know. I don't know if this answers your answers your question, but there's been a handful of songs that you see me pull the guitar out because I want to learn that song like so bad. It's like it's making me want to physically perform it. So in that regard, yeah, I've done that a couple times. I don't know how many, maybe like 15 or less, but hopefully that answered your question. I'm not sure it did though. Question from Irish Monks. Who is your favorite traditional musician, as in not for movies, games, or other media? So I'm sitting here thinking about this question. I would have to say, and again, some of these answers may not even be my true answer, because some of these I'd have to like really sit and ponder, but I'm just going with like what comes first in my head. My initial reaction says John Fogerty, the singer of Creedence Clearwater Revival. Very amazing songwriter, great guitar player, and one of the most like underrated bands in my opinion. That's the first thing that comes to mind, but this is one of those questions that there's just too many. There's too many. Toast and Damacy, a plethora of guitar players that I really enjoy. Oh, dude, I don't know. Just to keep it simple, I'll say John Fogerty, who has one of the best voices ever in rock and roll. Go listen to, just type in Creedence Clearwater Revival, I Put a Spell on You, and look at that video. It's like all blue. You'll understand. Question from HSHFR, Hashfer. I know your whole thing is that you play games based on their soundtracks, but are there games that you've been wanting to play without that element? I'm pretty sure God of War Ragnarok was one of those, but I'm willing to bet there are others. Yeah, I mean, there's just games that I wanted to check out. Yeah, like Ragnarok. Yeah. There's like basically I can answer this with all of 2026. Although I love the music from like these Nintendo games, a lot of that is based on me just wanting to play Nintendo games. So, you know, of course, I like the music from Super Mario 64, but I really just wanted to play Super Mario 64. And same with all the other, like, any other Nintendo IP that I dive into and stuff like that. So, yeah, pretty much this whole next year of games is going to be that curiosity and, yep. Question from Luigi4160. Has any video game music inspired you to create a new piece of music? Oh, this is kind of sad, but no. Then again, I haven't made any original music in a long time. It's been a while. For a very long time, I was recording and making new stuff all the time. I was constantly in writing mode. But you have to remember, I had a more traditional life at that time. I had a lot more struggles, no money, just perils of human existence. So I had a lot of things to put on paper. If you really want to be like literal here, the past 4 or 5 years of listening to video game music, I've been pretty lucky, and I've been very blessed and happy. And you know, not really a hot take, but all the like best music comes from like a low point in someone's life. You have stuff to write about. As interesting as my life is, and cool and exciting and lucky, it hasn't inspired notes to come to my head and just do it. I'm not going to do it just for the sake of doing it. It's been a while since I've wrote anything, like years. So no. Question from Roman460. Some people on YouTube might not know, but what are some games you plan or want to play because of its music in the future? Ooh, how about this? At the end of this video, I'll answer that question. Question from Picture Me Bliss, a fellow YouTuber. You should all go follow their channel. What inspired you to start YouTube, and are you still driven by the same things that made you start? What inspired me to start? No, I'm just kidding. Well, it's not my first rodeo. I've been on YouTube since like the year it was made, or like the year after. I remember having a channel back in like 2007. So almost 20 years. I have always been creative. I've always liked to make, always like cameras. So picture taking, photography, or videography, and editing as well. I like the whole thing about like, you know, setting up lights and the whole studio thing and getting shots. And I've always liked that creative outlet of the brain. So I've always been making videos. Like I remember making videos on like Windows Movie Maker, stuff like that back in the day. And that's kind of like what inspired. Actually, I also wanted to kind of make myself better on the guitar. So I thought if I filmed myself early on, like doing covers and stuff, it would motivate me to keep going and get better at it. So yeah. Are you still driven by the same things that made you start? Yeah. Yeah. YouTube is just all about like getting your art out there. At the end of the day, it's getting your art out there, getting it recognized, having people say nice things about it, sharing it, you know, a very organic experience, reaching people that you would never otherwise reach. And that's the beauty of the internet now. It's, you know, it's a lot different than going around passing flyers around. It's, people may stumble upon you, and if you're decent, they'll stick around. That it's not about ego, but it definitely makes you feel good. You know, it makes you feel a certain way if people are constantly giving you nice things, which is at the same time one of the reasons why negative comments and negativity stand out so harsh. It's because they're loud and you know they stand out. But I love YouTube. I've always loved YouTube. It's my main source of entertainment. I don't watch TV. I don't watch movies. I just watch YouTube. I live on YouTube and I make a living on YouTube. So it's an honor to be a part of this whole thing because I've been around and I'm still a viewer and I still leave comments on channels that are like, you know, 3 subscribers. It doesn't matter to me. You know, if someone's content is good, I'm watching it. I hope that answered your question and good luck in your journey. Question from Velcant. Hey boss, which shower activity team are you in? Singing or air guitar? Neither. Shower time is kind of like the equivalent of like doom scrolling for me. I'm just thinking of all the things happening and just try to ignore it all and get clean at the same time. That's about it. Next question from Hamza. I really want to ask a dumbass question. Pancakes or toast? Pancakes. I want to say usually the question is pancakes or waffles. I like pancakes, although I do like all of that. I like all breakfast foods, so don't ask me. I could eat it all. But I've always liked pancakes. I haven't had it in many years, but the ways you can eat it, you know, you can kind of like fold it like a taco. You can have syrup, you can have butter, all that. It's just, I don't know, pancakes are cool. So team pancakes, I guess, but toast is also good. Don't knock toast. Question from Hammett. Juan, how are you doing today? Excellent. Question from Nana Shrew. Have you ever thought about doing a flamenco VGM cover? Well, if only you knew. Before I did reactions, that's kind of all I've been doing. I didn't start YouTube just doing the video game reactions. That's just another idea I had. I was on YouTube before that, doing video game covers on the guitar. Sometimes electric, sometimes like flamenco, classical style. So yeah, I've done quite a bit. They're not hard to find either. You can just look. I don't know if I have a playlist for these things. Actually, in my homepage, if you look under, like my homepage is organized, and if you look at the bottom, there's like a miscellaneous category playlist. A lot of my guitar covers are there, or my other channel, Guitar Archive. You'll see me do some flamenco stuff too. I've been playing a lot of flamenco style guitar for like 14 years now. Yeah, so I've done it before. Question from JB Crystal, Doc7. Ooh, didn't see this asked yet. So we know how despite some songs in a soundtrack can be magical, there are times some game requests are a roulette of whether it'll be enjoyable reaction to make or not. It's the nature of the beast with some games with humongous soundtracks, really. So the question would be, is there a specific game that when looking into the backlog draws a "oh yeah" over getting to react to? A game or series that left the impression of that it never fails to deliver? Final Fantasy? Final Fantasy, Persona. I think the question is like, if I see something coming up in the list, I'm like, oh yeah, I can't wait. There's a lot of those. Sonic, Final Fantasy. I'm trying to think of games that are not done. I've completed some games. Like I can't talk about NieR anymore because I already did all the NieR songs and I played it. Sonic, Final Fantasy, Persona, Risk of Rain. Thinking at the top of my head here. Katamari, Stardew Valley. It's pretty good. Mario Kart stuff. I want to hear more Mario Kart stuff. Metroid. What has always been good? Man, this is such a hard. What has always been good that I haven't finished? Those are the ones that come to mind immediately. Oh, another one. Bravely Default. It's kind of random, but that's another one. Yeah. I think that's all that comes to mind at the moment. I know I missed like 1,000 others. Question from Andres Rose. Hello, Jesse. Hope you have an amazing day night. Do you have plans to do more personal artistic work in the future, like solo albums or just singles, or maybe just be a part of a band? Plans? No, but I'm never opposed to that kind of stuff because that was a big part of my life for many years, is doing open mics, walking, just going around and finding like a 5-10 minute slot I can take up, you know, kind of just doing my thing and then walking into the sunset. People were like, who was that guy? I don't know. I wouldn't be opposed to anything like that. It's just having time for it, but also being in the mind state for it. I don't want to just make it for the sake of making it. It has to just come. And also being part of a band, that sounds really fun. Quite a bit, but again, where am I going to find those people time-wise? I'm also older now, so people my age have like families and stuff, so I'm all about it, but who knows when or why, but I'm never opposed to it. Next question from Nico Sage. Hello, Jesse. Been watching your videos for a few months now, and I really like your takes on the songs and how you try to make sense of the context in-game. Has this experience ever made you want to compose music for a game? I kind of answered this already, but yeah, basically. I want to try my take on it because I want to treat it for... Because basically, long story short, is my music that I've always written has been what I want to hear. Where if I do something like this, it'd be music someone else wants me to do, what they want to hear. And probably a mixture of my stuff too, right? So that's where I want to take on that challenge. Like, can I do that for someone else and for a larger audience? Who knows? You know, I've only done it for me so far. So I'd be very interested in to try to challenge myself to do that. Kind of a similar question from Jojo X. What would be your dream game series to compose a song for? Any. I don't really want to. Any. Just. I mean, yeah, I can say stuff like, you know, some super giant game or whatever, but honestly, anything. I would not be opposed to any game I get to work on. Some indie, roguelike, platformer, I don't care. I just would love to be a part of that process and kind of put myself into the history of video game music. I think that's really exciting and something to look forward to. Probably a big goal this year, you know, now that I have a little bit more officialness to me. It'd be nice to kind of like collaborate more with like bigger names and do that kind of stuff. So anything. Question from Lyra Liebound. Hi. Is there an OST you would say is the most unique sounding? Yes, but it's not just like the most unique sounding. I can answer with, there's a couple soundtracks that come to mind that just sound like their own thing. Final Fantasy VIII, NieR Automata, Mortal Kombat on the Sega Genesis, Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance, Persona 5. I'm trying to think of games that don't sound like any other game, kind of. The first two Sonics sound very unique to me. I haven't heard a game that sounds like that yet. I remember a long time ago I did a reaction for Viscerafest. That sounded really, really cool. Fury as a unique soundtrack. Oh, dude, this is so hard. These questions are crazy. Those are just the ones that come to mind. I'm sure I'll think of 20 more by the time I finish this answer, but hopefully that was one of them. Question from Antis. Hi. Who's your favorite composer you've discovered through this channel? Ugh. Actually, I'll answer this with an interesting answer, and it's kind of a spoiler, but I'm planning to actually do a VGM Vibes episode on just this. So there's my announcement. I'm going to do a VGM Vibes of composers. And in that, I'll probably dive way into it. But this whole pattern of this Q&A has been the first thing that comes to mind. And to me, the ones that are popping in are Nobuo Uematsu, Darren Korb, Chris Christodoulou, Motoi Sakaruba, Yoko Shimomura. There's so many. Oh, NieR, Kaiju Okabe. Who am I thinking of? Ryota Kazuka. There's just so many, dude. There's just so many. But I would say overall, Nobuo Uematsu has my most playtime, I think. But they're all good. Grimbo asks, what's your favorite dinosaur? I don't know. First thing that comes to mind is pterodactyl because it's the one weird dinosaur with that has a P in front of it. That's I don't know. I should watch Jurassic Park again, and I have no answer. But dinosaurs are cool, anyways. Question from Kuroko FS: what's your favorite question? This one. Question from Runedog 1001: what would you say your least favorite instrument is? I feel like I should have an answer to this. My least favorite instrument. This is hard because I'm obviously avoiding it at all times. So I'm trying to think of what I haven't heard in a while. It's not immediately coming to mind. My least favorite instrument. My brain is defaulting to kazoo, but I don't think that's right. Kazoos can be funny. My least favorite instrument? Autotune. Does that count? Nah. My least favorite instrument. What sounds bad? Chat, help me out. What's a bad sounding instrument? I don't know at this exact moment. I may not have one, but I feel like I do have one. Ask again later. Question from Cabe Bedlam: what type of food do you enjoy? Here we go. Now we're talking. Easy. Mexican food. It's the best food in the world. Of course, you need to find authentic ones. If you go to your grocery store and you find a bunch of Mexican style food, it is not Mexican food. In order to have real Mexican food, you need to be in California, Arizona, Texas, Mexico, and maybe Nevada. But anything north than that, it's probably not Mexican. It's just incredible food. It's always fresh. It's flavor explosions. It makes vegetables taste really good. There's always an emphasis on spice, putting like tapatio or tahini on everything. Limes are really present. It's just amazing, amazing soups, amazing meat dishes, amazing breads. Oh man, yeah, I could eat Mexican food all day. It's incredible. Also Italian, of course. Yeah, that's it. I could eat those two all day and live a happy life. Question from Justin: who is your favorite requester and why is it Gardelane? He do be requesting the coolest shit. More seriously, does any track you've reacted to in memory stand out as the one the most gobsmacked you? Recently. Oh my god, these questions get harder and harder. You guys have to remember, like, as soon as I finish a song, I'm already like moved on to the next one. I'm already like hours into another game. Like, I do so much. Oh wait, you know what? I might have an answer to this. Give me 3 seconds. I'm not even gonna edit this. I think. Where's my? Yeah, you know what? Yeah, okay. It's the first thing I saw, and it's a song I've been hearing a lot. Battle Abdiel from SMT5. Bass SMT5. Battle Abdiel is such a good song. And that's all I'm gonna say. It's just great. I feel like anyone who listens to that song will like it quite a bit. Battle Abdiel. Next question from Caspian: in the games you have played, have you ever come across a song that shouldn't work for the setting it's used in, but somehow works? I want to take my time to figure this one out. I might have to do a cut and think about it. I think I have one. A song that shouldn't work for a setting it's used in, but somehow works. Oh, that's a great question. I feel like that's almost a VGM Vibes episode idea. I might have to steal that. I know there's a handful. I just can't think of them right now. Wow, what a good question. But somehow works. Okay, I have to take a cut. I have to think about this. Give me a couple minutes. Even though it's just gonna be immediate. Hold on. All right, so I've been thinking long and hard about this, and I know there's hundreds of examples. I just can't think of it. This is a really good question. But the first thing that came to mind is a song from the Festival of the Hunt in Final Fantasy IX. It's like a really short minigame that you never revisit. But that song is so good that later on in the game, it's reused as a super boss theme for Hades. And it just works so well there because it goes from being a minigame song to an intense ass battle theme, and nothing has changed. It's the exact same song. I know this question can go way more in depth, but that's just the first thing that came to mind. So for me, Festival of the Hunt from Final Fantasy IX used in the Hades boss fight. But damn, good question. Question from Issa. In the time you've been doing this channel, you've heard a lot of composers. Which ones have been your favorites, and do you have any you would consider a hidden gem? Well, I already answered like my favorites. A hidden gem. Ooh. Oh god, these are tough, man. These questions are crazy. Well, I would say Danny B from Crypt of the Necrodancer is pretty damn good. Hidden gem. Oh man. Let me look through some games real quick and I'll get back to you. I do have one more that I wanted to talk about, and that is Pascal Stiefel, who composed A Hat in Time. This person has their own YouTube channel, and they have done a plethora of video game mixes, some Sonic and just other games. But honestly, like their sound, his sound on A Hat in Time is remarkable. I can't wait to hear more from him, and I just think he's a super cool guy. So Pascal Stiefel is the first one that kind of comes to mind. Question from Paulina the Luna. You moved recently, so how do you like the new place? This was a while ago. I've moved a lot. And since the Auditorium has begun, I've been in like 4 different places, I think. It's good. I live in peace. The best thing that could have ever happened to me is living by myself. Roommates are not the way. And I just get so much more work done. I'm just at mental peace all the time, and it's pretty good. So, question from Illegally Sam. What song have you heard so far that you would say is the most memorable, good or bad, and why is it Crazy Bus? Yep, that's it right there. Crazy Bus. Memorable? Oh my gosh, man. You guys are throwing these hard-ass questions. I haven't mentioned Final Fantasy XIV yet. Wrath of the Harrier, when I first heard that, the Nobuo Matsu boss theme. Great. I love that song. It's my favorite song from 14. There's a lot of Blaze Blue songs that have really stuck out. I can't remember their names because there's so many characters, but one of the very first like Blaze Blue reactions I did was really good. I pulled out my guitar at the end of it too. You know what? There was a song from Digimon I did. It was like a desert theme. That one's really good. Memorable as well. Dude, this question is so loaded. What was it? The Elite from Black and White Battle? I think it was Elite. Whatever video I did for Black and White. That's not Driftvale City. Oh, Driftvale City as well. Gower Plain, Xenoblade. Oh my gosh. This is so hard. Battle Marcy from SMT5. Vengeance. By the way, speaking of good or bad, at the end of my highlights, I'm also going to show some of the lowlights. And there's not that many, but just some songs I just didn't vibe with. So, yeah. Mr. Insecure asks, are there any genres of music that you've come to appreciate more through video game music that you did before you began reacting to it? That's a tough question because I feel like I just liked everything already. I'm trying to think of if I heard anything more than others since. But this is I'm going to answer this in both in 2 ways. Classical music. Oh, no, not classical music. Sorry. Like orchestral. Not classical, orchestral. I've heard a lot more orchestral music since doing this, even though I already liked it. Orchestral music on this channel has been kind of hit or miss because, as you know, a lot of games feature it, especially modern games, and it's strictly a music style for you need to be playing the game at that moment to understand. There's orchestral scores that I like that I wouldn't even suggest for someone to listen to blindly because they just wouldn't get it. It's great, but it's like, okay. So I would say that this channel has really opened my eye to being really honest with myself and just saying, hey, sometimes I don't get it, you know? It sounds good. Obviously, there's like talented people performing, but this is something that I need to experience in game to really get it. But at the same time, it's okay because people are just at the end of the day sharing their musical favorites and their memories, and they just kind of want to see someone else react to it, as opposed to just like impressing me. I kind of get everything, right? But I do consider that as well. So I would say I look at orchestral music. I scrutinize it a lot more now, and yeah, still good. Just more often than not, I feel like I just need to be playing that game to understand it. Question from NX: how's life in general? This one has a lot of likes. I guess people care about this. Is everything fine with your personal life and overall happiness? Did the moving go well? Okay. So this was right after my latest move. So is the diet still going on? Did you manage to reach your weight, health goals, etc.? Life is good. I mean, I've been working constantly to bring peace to myself. I had a very rough life for a long time, and since doing this, I've been trying to just, remove my debts, raise my credit score, do this and that, and so yeah, I'm happy. I'm cool. Moving out was cool. That was a long time ago. The diet's still going on. Yes and no. I always fluctuate. I'm always having a health conscious goal. Right now, again, I'm currently losing. For a while, I wasn't. At the beginning of the year, I lost like 40 pounds, and then during the summer, I gained like half of that back. And right now, I'm currently, doing like a fast as well. I'm kind of going back down again. I always fluctuate, but I think what I'm focusing on this time is like a sustainable life type of thing instead of just like a diet per se. Like when I think of a diet, I think of like a momentary journey instead of like this is how I have to live now. But yeah, it's all good. No complaints. Question from Mr. Bear: do you prefer listening to music from do you prefer listening to music from more popular franchise games that you yourself haven't heard yet, or do you prefer obscure, not as well-known games? Everything. I think it's no secret that I listen to all games here. I don't care if it has 2 people on the team, if it's barely sold anything. I've listened to the most obscure, like random PC games from the 80s. It doesn't matter. I don't care. That's one of the main reasons I do this channel, is to like signal boost these songs that I can have other people hear it too, and that the same way I wouldn't discover it normally. A lot of my audience may have not ever come across it, and they become fans of it. So like Commodore 64 stuff, Amiga, anything really, just like some random obscure games like what's that one, Rabbit, Jazz Jackrabbit, stuff like that. Yeah, I don't care if it's AAA or whatever. Video game music is video game music. Music is music. Question from Pookster Prime: is there a game you're surprised you still haven't heard yet? Again, another question that I feel like I should just have on lock. Give me a second. I feel like I should just have this already at the back of my head. I haven't heard yet. Haven't heard yet? I'm trying to think of something I've never done. Not even just like for example, like Pokemon. I know there's a lot of Pokemon games I haven't heard, but I've heard Pokemon. I'm trying to think of like something I've just never. Oh my gosh. Something I've never heard. I'm surprised I haven't heard yet. Not a real answer, because I've heard like 1 or 2 songs from it, but Call of Duty. I know it might sound weird, but I get a lot of praise for like the earlier Call of Duty games, so it makes me curious, right? They can't all be bad. But what's something? Oh my god, what's something I haven't? I know there's something. Let me get back to you. I'm gonna go through my list. So I've been staring at this list for the past like 3 minutes, and this is my entire request log, by the way. This is just Patreon. Thousands and thousands of requests. Honestly, I don't know. I cannot think at this moment. I cannot think of a franchise that I have not dived into yet, and I know it's driving me crazy because I know there's a bunch that I haven't done. I feel like this is something the audience would know more than I. They wouldn't be surprised that I haven't done this, but I can't think of anything. I think I haven't, but it feels like I've heard a little bit of all the major games. There's just too many, dude. I don't know. I don't know. I don't think I have an answer for this. Let me know what you guys think. You're surprised I haven't heard yet, because this is going to drive me nuts now. I have no clue. Too many games. Too many games. Question from T for Tate. Who's your favorite game character, and does that character's music help put them at number 1? This is pretty high up there, Lance. Do I have an absolute favorite? I don't. That's another question I never thought of completely. I like Rex from Xenoblade 2. I like Lance. I like 2B. Oh god. I like Titus or Jeff. No, I don't think the music matters, but I have to think about if I actually have a favorite character. I want to say no because nothing's like coming to mind. Lance doesn't have his own song either, so. TJ Slash, do you have any favorite OSTs that aren't from a video game? Examples being TV or movies? Oh yeah, westerns, spaghetti westerns, the Dollar Trilogy. Ennio Morricone, so Fistful of Dollars, for a few dollars more, and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Once Upon a Time in the West. I also haven't seen too many movies. I could probably start off my own YouTube channel of movie reactions, but those are the ones that come to mind. Those are classic for a reason and shaped a lot of my music interests. Actually, if you watch a lot of Tarantino movies, he was a huge fan of Ennio Morricone too, and a lot of his soundtracks pay homage to Ennio Morricone, except for obviously like the license stuff. But if you notice, he uses a lot of stuff from westerns, like zoom ins on faces and just kind of like gunslinger type stuff. Yeah, I really love the Dollar Trilogy from Sergio Leone and Ennio Morricone. Couple more questions left from Joe Andy is a ninja. You mentioned Kalma a while back on a Blaze Blue reaction. So I was wondering about your favorite bands, your musical journey, and also if you have any websites to keep up with music, like Rate Your Music, Discords, etc. No, I don't have any websites to keep up with music. I honestly should. It's rare nowadays I listen to quote-unquote regular music. I still do, like I have my own personal playlist. But discovering new stuff, it's been a while. It's been a long time, actually. My favorite bands. That's a loaded question. A couple things that just comes to mind. I did not prepare for this at all. Metallica, Children of Bodom, Trivium was a big one for a while, though I kind of grew out of them. Creedence Clearwater Revival, Journey. Oh my god, there's so many. Pink Floyd. I really liked early System of a Down. Rage Against the Machine. Alice in Chains. Dude, this is impossible. Oh my gosh. There's also a bunch of hip-hop groups I liked. A Tribe Called Quest. KRS-One. Ooh, I'm just going from the top here. Oh, Emancipator. I'll give a shout out to Emancipator. It makes like instrumental hip hop stuff. Nujabes. One of my favorite albums is Nujabes. Modal Soul. Every single song on that. Yeah, Nujabes is definitely one. If you like Nujabes, you'll like Emancipator. Oh my god, there's so many. Grammatic. Whew. This is wild. Dilated Peoples. I'm just mentioning a bunch of genres too. Tears for Fears. Yep. Another question from NX. How do you feel about having, at the time of writing this question, 6 months ago, almost 5,200 pending requests with some dupes, but still? I feel really strongly about this question because people, I think, have no idea how much I actually am backlogged. Just to kind of be serious for a moment here, because I just think it's really important. One of the biggest things I cannot help, and I've tried to remedy it, and I just can't find a logical solution, is the wait time. There's people here that have been waiting for 4 years, 3 years for their request. I'm one person. I really admire that people want to hear my opinion on something. But just know that before the auditorium, I just had like 2 commenters, a couple people shared, and to all of a sudden, like overnight, immediately I'm backlogged. I remember being behind like 50 videos in the first like 2 weeks. Imagine that amount of volume over 4 years. So while that is really nice and a huge gesture and all that, I'm only one person, and it sucks. It's one of the things that like eat away at me. I've never forgotten about you. I have every request ever logged. The only thing I can do is just kind of like, expedite it through the other tier. But even then, those people sometimes have to wait too. It's really kind of messed with my mind, if I'm being honest, going from introverted person that no one really knows about to suddenly being in demand for over 4 years. It's a big compliment to have that many requests, but at the same time, it will always, always, always make me feel terrible inside that people have to wait that long. But there's not much I can do besides just keep working at it. Last year alone, I did 500 videos for the auditorium. Just the auditorium, just one channel. So 490 for just one channel, not including the other 2 channels. That's more than daily. And that's 2 songs per video, or sometimes more. And I'm still behind. So basically, long story short is, if you're still waiting, I really appreciate it. I'm trying, and it's always going to overwhelm me, because I feel like I'm never going to just get to a, all right, we made it point, because 5,000 is absurd. But on one side of the coin, that's a lot of cool music to look forward to, and a lot of great memories, and a lot of cool games to maybe play. But just thanks for your patience, and it sucks. It's the worst part of doing all this. And hopefully, I don't know. I have no solution, but I'm trying. This question is from deleted user. I think I know who this was, but they got hacked. Has there ever been a song you listened to and reacted to that just ended up not enjoyable, and as such you didn't make a vid from it? Oh, didn't make a vid from it? With the hundreds you've heard, it would be reasonable to expect a dud or 2 along the way. So just wondering how you handle those moments if they exist. Well, one, I've never not uploaded something because it sucks. That's silly. In this entire time of doing this, only one video ever, was public and is now blocked. And that's not because of me. That's because of silly YouTube stuff, copyright. That's Dragon's Dogma Into Free. I love that song. It's such a good song. Maybe I'll put it up on Patreon someday, but I still have the reaction. Although I don't have the original file. Well, maybe I do, actually. I don't know, but it got blocked. It's just straight up not viewable. It sucks because I love that song. But no, everything I've always uploaded. Well, think about it. Everything is paid requests. If I were to not upload something, I'd be like scamming them. I'd be like, oh, thanks for your contribution, but I'm not going to upload this. I can't do that. I've uploaded everything. I've always been honest. If I don't like something, you'll know, and you'll see it coming up in the lowlights. But no, I've never not done that. If I don't like something, then I'll just say it. 2 more questions. One is from Milan. Toughest content to film from start to finish, and why? Toughest content. Right now, I'm going through this thing where I'm going through a VGM Vibes episode, which has taken me months to complete because I can't find a way to do it in a way that I like. I refuse to put something out of my own original thing that I don't like myself. My whole thing with YouTube is like, I like to make stuff that I would want to watch. And since it didn't exist, I just filled that hole myself. That kind of thing. So this latest VGM Vibes that I know a lot of you are waiting on, I haven't found a way to do it in a way that I like. not only is it overwhelming with so many entries, but I can't find a way to do it. And I don't know what I'm gonna do with that song or that video. I have stayed up many nights, like stressed out if I want to scrap the whole idea or just do it and hope it goes well. But then that's just not good because I don't want to put just stuff out and hope it does well. So there's that. And that's a recent thing because I'm still going through it. And the other thing is something I mentioned earlier with orchestral songs. I feel that, again, orchestral stuff has to be played in game, honestly. 9 times out of 10, an orchestral song has to be heard in game because it may not hit. Odds are it won't hit as hard because orchestral music, and I don't mean this in an offensive way, is just, it all kind of blends together after a while. But that's the point. It's like in game, it just really like elevates this section. It's not necessarily made for listening on your own. So I would say that's pretty tough because not only do I have to give my honest thoughts, but also who knows how long that person's been waiting for me to say these things and they may not even like vibe with it. That's kind of tough too, but I'd rather be honest than, gaslight them. I think that answers your question. Last question. I can't believe we have this many questions. From Darton. If you weren't doing YouTube, video games, or music, what are some of the other things that you'd want to do for a living? Oh, okay. That's easy. Oh, wait, hold on. If you weren't doing YouTube, video games, or music, that's my whole life. I'm going to kind of cheat here, and that's what I was doing prior, and I was working at a guitar factory. So even though it's like music, I wasn't like playing it. I was like building guitars and, being part of the factory process. I thought that was cool. I honestly thought that I was going to be there for forever. Once I got that gig, I thought I was going to like move over there, live there, grow old there, and just work my way up the company. I got promoted fast, and then I left because for this. But yeah, I think so. In other words, let me re-answer that. I'll be a luthier, someone who works on guitars. I would probably do that for a living. Like install pickups and restrings for people, students. Being around physical instruments and working on them or something like that, probably. Or being a teacher, I don't know. But other than those things, I couldn't see myself doing anything else. So yeah, that concludes my Q&A section. I can't believe it went this long. It was way more than last time. But we move on to the highlights, just like a little quick clip show similar to my episode 1000. They're going to be quick rapid fire highlights that I really enjoyed. They're not all of them because there's so many. Just some that came to mind, and then after that there'll be like a tiny little section of songs that I didn't like. And then the finale. So thanks for still hanging around.
Hey there. So this is going to be episode 1 of me reacting to video game OSTs and soundtracks and
I'm frozen like a fill of ice.
That was sick. Okay, the way the strings just disappeared. Oh my god. Oh, I completely forgot what I said and it hit me. Saxophone? Okay, this might be the coolest song from NieR so far. I'm doing like everything. Air drums, air violin, air piano. Oh, good. Already. I spoke too soon. Hopefully this keeps going with the drum beat underneath. Please, 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 please.
Now open your eyes.
I don't know what to say. I'm sorry.
Light is repeated.
Cool little progressive synth. Ooh. That percussion is crystal clear. Damn, okay. Okay, hold on. Flamenco guitar. Oh, man. This is smooth. If you don't mind, I'm just gonna... My gosh. Oh my gosh, dude. Come on. This is so good. Oh my god. Ah, there it is. Oh, the chorus. Choir. This is supposed to be like Turkish. Is that a ukulele? Wow.
We shall be
duet?
Freedom in the flame. The end has just begun.
Why is this so good already? It's the daytime. We have to put these on so the sun doesn't mess up our vision. Ooh. Sounds like an 80s movie. Whoa. Oh, this is nice. Yeah. Ooh. Ooh. That's satisfying. Wow. Have I been sleeping on Final Fantasy 13?
Down by the river, down, down, down by the river.
Incredible melody, incredible voice. The only thing it's missing is maybe an electric guitar. Just kidding. Oh, I want to learn that, dude. I want to learn that. I really want to learn that.
Just think
I just see like flames coming up. Slow walk forward.
Can you hear it? The pulses of the living.
Whoa. Whoa, was that synced up with the attack? That was sick.
Wow, man.
My heart is a furnace, had a selling my word of conflict.
Ooh.
When
Say what you have to say. What a thing of beauty. Will never fade away.
Ooh. That guitar riff. That one. Damn. Ooh. Opera? Oh man, yeah. Oh my god. That is so good. Huh? This is a very satisfying song.
Sounds like wind. Nah.
Scare the hell out of me.
I don't want to speak too soon, but damn.
Atlas sure is weird, aren't they?
This is the best song I've ever heard in my life.
So that concludes my 100K special. I did not think this was going to be this long, but I really appreciate all your viewership, all the subs, anyone who's ever been on Patreon, whether you're a free member, a $1 member, platinum tier, double request, if you're a YouTube member. All that is what made this possible. This is, honestly, I'm not even joking, my proudest achievement in life. This took so much work, and as someone who does almost the same thing every day, and I've become a little numb to my own life, it's nice to see the acknowledgement and the fruits of my labor, so to say. And every time I feel like I have a little bit of imposter syndrome, I'm just gonna look at this and just humble myself. I think it's actually kind of crazy that there's like a mirror on it, so I can actually see myself in it. But I really appreciate everything. Thank you for watching the VOD page. Thank you for allowing me to do the other series like VGM Vibes, the Pipeline stuff. If you've never seen those, I do recommend them. They're another thing I do, the game leitmotifs. I'm a fan of my own video of the SMT5 game leitmotifs video. The Composer Chronicles. I really want to have a place for just video game music to shine, because I always feel like it's been overlooked, and it's great to have its place here, and I'm honored to be a part of that, because I've always loved it, even growing up. So if you made it this far, I have one more surprise for you that no one knows about, and I'm just gonna announce it here. I have said for a long time, since the dawn of time, and I've been hearing it since 2021, that I was never going to play this game, and I have no interest. It's just too long, blah, blah, blah. At the time of you seeing this video, if you check the VOD page over here, I have started my first playthrough of Persona 5 Royal. I am already like 6 episodes in by the time you're seeing this, and I'm not going to say how I feel about it, but I'm about 30 hours in, and all I'm going to say about that is thank you, SMT5, for allowing that to happen and opening the doors. So thank you so much for 100K. I don't know what's next, but it's surreal to be here, and I couldn't be here without you guys. I really admire it. Thanks to everyone you see on screen. I say it all the time, but truly, I pay my bills and my light and my food from your viewership and these people, these generous people. So thank you so much, and thank you for 100K. We did it. This is one of the best days of my life to get this. Thank you so much. Until next time, everyone, my name is Jesse in the Auditorium. Still so many songs to go and listen to. Thank you for your patience. And thank you for letting me be part of your guys' lives. Thanks to Lance. Thanks to all my mods, always helping and supporting me. Shout out to Discord. Everybody, just, you all know who you are. Thanks to my mom. Let's fucking go.